I tried to pull something smooth off and it did not happen. Oh dear, Allison, what are we gonna do with you? Hi guys, this is Allison from Allycat Creations being really silly. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work at Connect the Dot, an epiphany, a mind-blowing moment, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description. Universe apparently wants me to be making some changes in life, so I didn't get hired to the school system here, even though I have a shining resume. It was probably those CRT questions that tripped me up because, you know, I see souls. Just like my medical religious exemption with the Board of Ed was denied. So I have no idea what I'm going to be able to do with the job. And I am, my poor footsie tootsies, my legs are up on my desk like, you know, I'm all nonchalant. I am in a lot of pain. And my teeth are acting up. But I did an oracle reading today, and I'm motivating myself because I want to get this portion done, and I'm in a good mood. The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. We're not anywhere close to the end, but we're semi there. We're getting there to volume 1. There's a volume 2. So this one is the 7 creations I'm going to be reading. For those of you who are new to my channel or just started following me, here's the thing about Blavatsky. She does a lot of the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, and she does a lot of that work. And a lot of that has some words that I can't project because of my teeth. Because here from here, I've showed it, I pulled my teeth down. Again, why I need a job that has health insurance, not that I like the health insurance, but I can't afford to get dentures or implants or something. My teeth all need to be pulled, and I can't afford to do that. Just, it's not feasible right now to do that. So I need a job that can maintain that type of nonsense. But what I'm saying is, instead of getting frustrated, I might just pass over something that I just can't say. If you really want to know what it is, download the PDF or buy the book and let me know. Because I have yet had people explain to me the pronunciation of certain words. Like why I will not. I've been trying to get Icelandic down, just those 18-letter words that they have. There's a word that's 64 letters long. Did you know that? Icelandic is ridiculously hard. I could sing some of the folk songs, but I'm probably pronouncing shit wrong. Even in that stuff that I like and enjoy. So I just want to put that out there. I butcher a lot of her work because I can't project pronouncing the words because I don't want my teeth flying out of my face. And certain syllables and just doesn't fly smoothly. Regular words don't fly smoothly out of my mouth. So I just want to put that out there, guys. I'm like discombobulated, but in a good mood. So I'm just going to work with it. And I also need class. I'm actually very tired. Oh, so before I begin, really quick, because this is going to be long. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, which is normal for the old Allison, not normal for the new me. And not because of Morgan, actually. So I showed on one of my episodes that I have a black, of course, I have a black cat. Not Ethan. Ethan's passed away, but I have a new black cat outside. He refuses to want to come in. I tried opening up the door today. He might be just the outdoor cat, but I feed him. And 2 nights ago, I totally forgot I had left dry food out there, and the cutest little raccoon ever came and ate the food. He's stupid cute. Like, you just want to, like, but you can't. Adorable. And I love, listen, I love animals. And trash pandas are the cutest things in the world. But last night he came back. I had no food out. You're not eating my little kitty cat's food. 1, and 2, this ruckus knocked over my little tiny camping grill, made so much noise. I think that he woke like 5 other houses up. It was that loud. Climbing on everything on my deck, and then he jumped onto the roof portion of my deck. It's like weird. Like scratching at stuff, and I'm like, what is going on outside? I go get my axe. Don't worry, I wasn't going to kill anything. I just wanted to make noise and have a big thing to swing. And like, him and his best friend were just toppling everything over. So I'm like, you gotta go. And he understood. He moved, and he said, you can't be up here making this noise. None in my house. Not when I'm trying to get sleep. I was left a lot of raccoon poo this morning. That was really fun. But yeah. So there was a lot going on yesterday, last night. So that's why I didn't do a video. Okay, now to Blavatsky, that I got this all squared away. Quote, there was neither day nor night, nor sky, nor earth, nor darkness, nor light, nor any other thing save only one, unapprehensible by intellect, or that which is Brahma and Pumis, spirit, and Padana, cruel matter. Veda Vishnu Purana commentary, or literally one. See, this is the word I was looking at. I'm like, I can't pronounce that. Ankya, Brahma spirit, that was the Prahanka. Brahma spirit is Mukta Prakti and Power Brahma. In Vishnu Purana, Parisa says to, now I'm gonna just pause here really quick. I want to say Mitra, like the alien gray, the Mitra race. Those ugly, the one that I have for the alien gray, that's a Mitra. I'm sure it's just a name, but I just find that a little crazy that I want to say that, and I'm going to keep saying Mitra. It's a gray, maybe. His pupil, quote, I have thus explained to you, excellent Muni, 6 creations, the creation of the Arv Yeah, I'm skipping. And that looks more Greek than it does Hindu. Being was the seventh, and was that of man. End quote. Then he proceeds to speak of the two additional and very mysterious creations, variously interpreted by the commentators. Origen, commenting upon the books written by Celsius, his opponent books, which were all destroyed by the prudent church fathers, evidently answers the objections of his contractor and reveals his system at the same time. This was evidently septenary, but his theogony, the genesis of the stars or planets, that of sound and color, all found as an answer satire and no better. Celsius, you see, desiring to exhibit his learning, speaks of a ladder of creation with 7 gates, on the top of it the 8th ever closed. The mysteries of the Persian Mithras are explained, and musical reasons, moreover, are added. And to this again, he strives to add a second explanation connected also with musical considerations, with the 7 notes of the scale, the 7 spirits of the stars, etc. Sorry, guys, my teeth are shifting. Valentinius expedites upon the power of the great 7, who were called to bring forth the universe after Aretios, or the infallible, whose name is composed of 7 letters, had represented the first hebdomad. This name, Arhitos, is one to indicate the 7-fold nature of the one, the Logos. The goddess Rhea, says Procleus in Timos, is a monad, duad, and heptad, comprehending in herself all the Tychad, who are 7. The 7 creations are found in almost every Purana. They are all preceded by what Wilson translates the indiscrete principle, absolute spirit, independent of any relation with objects of sense. They are 1, Manhatawa, the universal soul, infinite intelligent, or divine mind. Bruta, element creation, the first differentiation of universal indiscrete substance. 3, Indriya, organic evolution. These 3 were the Prakta creations, the developments of indiscrete nature preceded by indiscrete principle. Mukhaya, the fundamental creation of perceivable things, was that of inanimate bodies. Tarya Yang, whatever, was that of the animals. Not tackling that, this is 6. Or that of divinities. Not tackling that either, was that of man. Sorry, guys, I'm not sitting here to try to pronounce stuff that I can't even try. This is the order given to the exoteric texts. According to the esoteric teachings, there are 7 primary and 7 secondary creations, the former being the forces self-evolving from the one causeless force, the latter showing the manifested universe emanating from the already differentiated divine elements. Esoterically, as well as exoterically, all the above enumerated creation stands for the 7 periods of evolution, whether after an age or a day of Brahma. This is a teaching par excellence of occult philosophy, which, however, never uses the term creation, nor even that of evolution. With regard to the primary creation, but calls all such forces the aspects of the causeless force. In the Bible, the 7 periods are dwarfed into the 6 days of creation and the 7th day of rest, and the Westerns adhere to the latter. In the Hindu philosophy, when the active creator has produced the world of gods, the germs of all the undifferentiated elements and the rudiments of future senses, the world of the noumena. In short, the universe remains unaltered for a day of Brahma, a period of 4,320,000 years. This is the 7th passive period of the Sabbath day of Eastern philosophy that follows 6 periods of active evolution. In the Sapatha Brahma, neuter, the absolute cause of all causes, radiates the gods. Having radiated the gods through its inherent nature, the work is uninterrupted. In the first book of Manu, it is said, at the expiration of each night, Prailaya, Brahma, having been asleep, awakes, and through the soul energy of the motion causes to emanate from itself the spirit, which in its essence is and yet is not. In the Sefer Jezra, the Kabbalistic book of creation, the author has evidently repeated the word of Manu. In it, the divine substance is represented as having alone existed from the eternity, boundless and absolute, and as having emitted from itself the spirit. One is the spirit of the living God, blessed be his name, who liveth forever. Voice, spirit, and word, this is the Holy Spirit. And this is the Kabbalistic abstract trinity, so unceremoniously anthropomorphized by the fathers. From this triple one emanated the whole cosmos. First, from one emanated number 2, or air, the creative element, and then number 3, water, proceeded from the air. Ether or fire completed the mystic 4. The horrible. In the Eastern doctrine, fire is the first element, ether synthesizing the whole, since it contains all of them. In the Vishnu Purana, the whole 7 periods are given, and the progressive evolution of a spirit soul and of the 7 forms of matter or principles are shown. It is impossible to enumerate them in this work. The reader is asked to pursue one of the Puranas. Quote, Ar Yedva began, it is written, Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of waters. At the time that the Holy created the world, they created 7 heavens above. He created 7 earths below, 7 seas, 7 days, 7 rivers, 7 weeks, 7 years, and 7 times. And 7,000 years that the world has been, the 7th of all the millennium. So here are 7 earths below. They are all inhabited except those which are above and those below. And between each earth a heaven, firmament, is spread out between each other, and there are in them, these earths, creatures who look different from each other. But if you object and say that they are all children of the world came from Adam, it is not so. And the lower earths, where do they come from? They are from the chain of the earth and from the heaven below. Why I just paused there for a second was because what I just read if anybody has ever seen the Nos Confunded map, that sort of describes what that map looks like. It's very interesting. And if you watch Jason Breshears, and he talks about the vapor canopy a lot, and I like Jason Breshears, that also would make sense to his theories. So just, I had to take a little. Irenaeus is our witness, and very unwilling one too, that the Gnostics taught the same system, veiling very carefully the true esoteric meaning. This veiling, however, is identical with that of the Vishnu Purana and others. Thus, Irenaeus writes of the Marcionians, they maintain that the first of all the four elements, fire, water, earth, and air, were produced after the image of the primary tetrad above, and that then, if we added their operations, namely heat, cold, dryness, and moisture, an exact likeness of the Ogdad is presented. Only this likeness and the Ogdad itself is a blind, just as in the seven creations of the Vishnu Puranas, to which two more are added, of which the eighth, termed Anugara, possesses both the qualities of the goodness and darkness. Sankhyan more than a Puranic idea. For Irenaeus says again that they, the Gnostics, had a like eighth creation, which is good and bad, divine and human. They affirm that man was formed on the eighth day. Sometimes they affirm that he was made on the sixth day, and at others on the eighth, unless perchance they mean that his earthly part was formed on the sixth day, and his fleshy part, ? On the eighth day, these two beings distinguished by them. They were so distinguished, but not as Irenaeus gives it. The Gnostics had a superior hebdomad and an inferior one in heaven, and a third terrestrial hebdomad on the plane of matter. Io, the mystery god and the region of the moon, as given in Origen's chart, was the chief of these superior seven heavens, hence identical with the chief of the lunar Pitris, that name being given by them to the lunar Dihan Kohans. They affirm that these seven heavens are intelligent and speak of them as being angels, writes the same Irenaeus, and adds that on this account they termed Io Hebadamus, while his mother was called Od, because he explains she preserved the number of the first begotten and primary Ogdad of the Pleroma. The first begotten, I don't even know if I'm saying this word right. Ogdod was in theogony the second logos that manifested, because he was born of the sevenfold first logos. Hence he is the eighth on this manifested plane. And in astrology, it was the sun Martanda, the eighth son of Aditi, whom she rejects while preserving her seven sons, the planets. For the ancients had never regarded the sun as a planet, but as a central and fixed star. This then is the second Hebdomad, born of the seven-rayed one, Agni, the sun, and whatnot, only not the seven planets, which are Sariah's brothers, not his sons. These astral gods, whose chief was the Gnostics, was something ba. Alda. It's like Yaldabaoth, but it's Alda. But one of those Ida. Ba. Child egg. The son of Sophia Arkmoth, the daughter of Sophia Wisdom, whose region is the Pleroma, where his Idaboth sons. He produces himself these 6 stellar spirits. Jehovah, Sabbath, Adonai, Elori, Astrios, to the third is composed of the 7 primeval men, the shadows of the lunar gods, projected by the first Hebdomad. In the Gnostics, did not, as seen, differ much from the esoteric doctrine, except that they veiled it. As to the charge made by Irenaeus, who was evidently ignorant of the true tenets of the heretics, with regard to men being created on the 6th day and man being created on the 8th. This relates to the mysteries of the inner man. It will become comprehensible to the reader only after he has read the book 2 section of this book and understood well the anthropogenesis of the esoteric doctrine. Idaboth is a copy of Menu. The later boasts, "Oh, best of twice born men. Know that I, Menu, am he, the creator of all this world, whom that male Viraj spontaneously produced. He first creates the 10 lords of being, the Prajaptis, who, as verse 36 says, produce 7 other Manus, the ordinances of Manu. Idaboth does likewise. I am Father and God, and there is no one above me, he exclaims, for which his mother coolly puts him down by saying, don't lie, Idaboth, for the father of all, the first man, Anthropos, is above thee, and so is Anthropos, the son of Anthropos. This is a good proof that there were 3 logi, besides the 7 born of the first, one of these being the solar logos, and again, who was Anthropos, himself too much higher than Idaboth. The Gnostic records alone can solve this riddle. In Pistis Sophia, I've been referencing this book so many people, the 4-voweled name Ayav is in each case accompanied by the epithet of the primal or first man. This shows again that the gnosis was but an echo of the archaic doctrine. The names answering to Power Brahman, to Brahma, and Manu, the first thinking man, are composed of 1-voweled, 3-voweled, and 7-voweled sounds. Marcus, whose philosophy was certainly more Pythagorean than anything else, speaks of the revelation to him of the 7 heavens, sounding each 1 vowel as they pronounce the 7 names of the 7 angelic hierarchies. When the spirit has permeated every minutest atom of 7 principles of cosmos, then the secondary creation after the above-mentioned period of rest begins. The creators Elohim outline in the 2nd hour the shape of man, says Rabbi Simon. There are 12 hours in the day, says the Mishnah, and it is during these that the creation is accomplished. The 12 hours of the day are again dwarf copy, the faint yet faithful echo of primitive wisdom. They are like the 12,000 divine years of the gods, a cyclic blind. Every day of Brahma has 14 manas, which the Hebrew Kabbalists following, however, in this, the Chaldeans have disguised into 12 hours. The Nuktamatron of Apollonius of Tyana is the same thing. The dodecahedron lies concealed in the perfect cube, says the Kabbalist. The mystic meaning of this is that the 12 great transformations of spirit into matter, the 12,000 divine years, take place during the 4 great ages of the first Mahayuga. Beginning with the metaphysical and superhuman, it ends in the physical and purely human natures of cosmos and man. Eastern philosophy can give the number of mortal years that run along the line of spiritual and physical evolutions of the seen and unseen if Western science fails to do so. Primary creation is called the creation of light, spirit, and the secondary, that of darkness, matter. Both are found in Genesis chapter verse 2 and at the beginning of chapter, I can't see it's all idolatrized. I'm not getting up to see it. The first is the emanation of self-born gods, Elohim. The second of physical nature. This is why it is said in the Zohar, O companions, man as emanation was both man and woman, as well on the side of the father, as well on the side of the mother. And this is the sense of the words, and Elohim spoke, let there be light, and it was light. And this is the twofold man. Light, moreover, on our plane is darkness in the higher spheres. Men and women on the side of the father, spirit, refers to primary creation. On the side of the mother, matter, to the secondary. The twofold man is Adam Kadmon, the male and female abstract prototype of the differentiated Elohim. Man proceeds from the Daihan Kohan and is a fallen angel, a god in exile, as he will be shown. So one has to beg to differ about when we talk about fallen angels. What does that necessarily mean? And I always equate, for my own self and my own reasoning, that we all fell into matter. We all were spirit essence. We were all angels, and we all fell into materialism. We fell into matter. Does that make the Lucifer rebellion evil? Does that make everybody evil because they fell into something? They differentiated at a source, the logi, the pleroma, whatever you want to call it and resonate with. Makes sense to me. Just saying. In India, these creations were described as follows. Mahatma creation, so called because it was the primordial self-evolution of that which had become Mahat, the divine mind, consciousness, and intelligent. Esoterically, the spirit of the universal soul, were theists of aesthetics, through its potency, the potency of that cause. Every produced cause comes by a proper nature. Seeing that the potencies of all being understood only through the knowledge of that Brahma, which is beyond reasoning, creation, and the like, such potencies are referable to Brahma. That then precedes the manifestation. The first was Mahat, says Linga Purana, for the one that is neither first nor last, but all. Exoterically, however, this manifestation is the work of the Supreme One, a natural effect rather of an eternal cause. Or, as the commentator says, it might have been understood to mean the Brahma was then created, being identified with Mahat, active intelligence, or the operating will of the Supreme. Esoteric philosophy renders it the operating law. It is on the right comprehension of this tenet in the Brahmas and Puranas that hangs, we believe, the apple of discord between the three Vedanta sects, the Advaita, Dvaita, and the Vishtavatas. I'm doing my best, guys. The first arguing rightly that power Brahman having no relation as the absolute all to the manifested world, the infinite having no connection with the finite, can neither will nor create. That therefore Brahma, Mahat, Iswara, or somewhat ever named the creative power may be known by, creative gods and all are simply an elusive aspect of the power Brahman in the conception of the conceivers, while the other sects identify the impersonal cause with the creator or Isvara. Mahat or Mahabudai is with the Vaishnavas, however, divine mind in active operation, or Anaxoras has it, an ordering and disposing mind, which was the cause of all things. Wilson saw at a glance the suggestive connection between Mahat and the Phoenician Mot, or Mut, who was female with the Egyptians, the mother goddess Mut, the mother, which, like Mahat, he says, was the first product of the mixture of spirit and matter, and then first rudiment of creation. Oh, okay, that's another language, and I am not butchering. That looks Latin. From whose seed was created all living things, repeats Bruckner, giving it a still more materialistic and anthropomorphic coloring. Nevertheless, the esoteric sense of the doctrine is seen through every exoteric sentence on the very face of the old Sanskrit texts that treat of primordial creation. The supreme soul, the all-permanent substance of the world, having been drawn into matter, and spirit agitated the mutable and the immutable principles, the season of creation having arrived. Esoteric doctrine teaches that the Daihan Kohans are the collective aggregate of divine intelligence or primordial mind, and that the first manas, the seven mind-born spiritual intelligences, are identical with the former. Hence the Quan Shi Yin, the golden dragon, in whom are the seven of stanza 3, is the primordial logos of Brahma, the first manifested creative power, and the Daihan energies are the manas, or Manu. I can't see that word, guys. I'm sorry. Collectively, the direct connection, moreover, between the manas and Mahat is easy to see. Manu is from the root man, to think, and thinking proceeds from the mind. It is in cosmogony, the pre-nebular period. The second creation, Bhuta, was of the rudimentary principles, Tanmatras. These term the element creation. It is the period of the first breath of the differentiation of the pre-cosmic elements or matter. Bhutati means literally the origin of the elements and precedes Bhutasargra, the creation or differentiation of those elements in primordial Akasha, chaos, and vacuity. In the Vishnu Purana, it is said to proceed along and belong to triple aspect of Ankara, translated egotism, but meaning rather that untranslatable term, the I amness, that which first issues from Mahat or divine mind, the first shadowy outline of selfhood. For pure Ankara becomes passionate and finally rudimental. Initial it is, the origin of consciousness as of all unconscious being, though the esoteric schools reject the idea of anything being unconscious, save on this our plane of illusion and ignorance. At this stage of the second creation, the second hierarchy of the Manus appear the Daihan Kohans or Devas, who are the origin of form, Rupa, the really long word meaning bright crested, or the Risha, those rishis who have become the informing souls of the 7 stars of the Great Bear. You can also equate the rishis to being ascended masters. It's like their own, or like the rishi order is like their own order, and you would equate that in human language, English language, to ascended masters. In astronomical and cosmological language, this creation relates to the first stage of cosmic life, the first mist period after its chaotic stage, when atoms issue the laya. The third was modified form of Ankara, the conception of I from ahem, I, termed the organic creation or creation of senses. These 3 were the prakti creation, the discrete developments of indiscrete nature, preceded by the indiscrete principle. Preceded by ought to be replaced here with the beginning by Buddha, for the latter is neither a discrete nor an indiscrete quality, but partakes of the nature of both in man as in cosmos. A unit, a human monad on the plane of illusion, when once freed from the 3 forms of Ankara and liberated from its terrestrial manas, Buddha becomes truly a continued quantity, both in duration and extension, because eternal and immortal. Either it is stated that the third creation, abounding with the quality of goodness, is termed, can't get that word, and a page or 2 further, that really long word with starts with a U, creation is referred to as the 6th creation, that of the divinities, and this shows plainly that the earlier as well as later Manvaratas have been purposely confused to prevent the profane from perceiving the truth. This is called incongruity and contradictions by the Orientalist. This creation of the immortals, the Deva Sarga, is the last of the first series and has a universal reference, namely to evolutions in general, not specifically to our Manvarata. But the latter begins with the same over and over again, showing that it refers several district kaplas. For it is said at the close of the past Padma, Kapla, the divine Brahma, awoke from his night of sleep and beheld the universe void. Then Brahma is shown going once more over the 7 creations in the secondary stage of evolution, repeating the first 3 on the objective plane. The Mukhaya, the primary as it begins the series of 4, neither the word inanimate bodies nor yet immovable things are translated by Wilson, gives a correct idea of the Sanskrit terms used. Esoteric philosophy is not the only one to reject the idea of any atom being inorganic, for it is found also in Orthodox Hinduism. Moreover, Wilson himself says in his collected works, all the Hindu systems considered vegetable bodies as endowed with life, or the synonymous is therefore inaccurately rendered by inanimate and inanimate sentient beings, and unconscious or conscious and unconscious beings. Locomotive and fixed would be better, since trees are considered to possess souls. Maiga is the creation or organic evolution of the vegetable kingdom. In the secondary period, the 3 degrees of elemental or rudimentary kingdoms are evolved in this world, corresponding inversely in order to the 3 paractic creations during the primary period of Brahma's activity, as in that period in the worlds of Vishnu Purana. The first creation was that of Mahat, intellect, and the second of Tanmatras, rudimental principles, and the third that of the senses. In this one, the order of the elemental force stands thus. The nascent centers of force, intellectual and physical, the rudimentary principles, nerve force, so to say, and nascent apperception which is that of Mahat of the lowest kingdoms, especially developed in the third order of elementals. Sorry guys, these are succeeded by objective kingdom of minerals, in which latter the apperception is entirely latent, to redevelop only in the plants. The Mukra creation then is the middle point between the three lower and the three higher kingdoms, which represent the 7 esoteric kingdoms of the cosmos of the earth. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce this word. Terra Yanyonya. Whatever creation that of the sacred animals corresponding only on earth, to the dumb animal creation. That which is meant by animals as primary creation is the germ of awakening consciousness or of apperception, that which is faintly traceable in some sensitive plants on earth, and more distinctly in the protistic Monera. On our globe, during the first round, animal creation precedes that of man, while the former, or mammal, evolves from the latter in the fourth round on the physical plane. In round 1, the animal atoms are drawn into a cohesion of human physical form, while in round 4, the reverse occurs according to the magnetic conditions developed during life. And this is metempsychosis, the mineral monad. The 5th stage of evolution, called exoterically creation, may be viewed in both the primary and secondary periods. One as a spiritual and cosmic, the other as material and terrestrial. It is archbilly or life orientation, so far, of course, as the manifestation of life on all 7 planes is concerned. It is at this period of evolution that the absolutely external universal motion or vibration, that which is called the esoteric language, the great breath, differentiates in the primordial first manifested atom. More and more as chemical and physical science progresses, does this occult axiom find its collaboration in the world of knowledge. The scientific hypothesis that even the simplest elements of matter are identical in nature and differ from each other only owing to the variety of the distributions of atoms in the molecule or speck of substance, or by the modes of its atomic vibration, gains every day more ground. Thus, the differentiation of the primordial germ of life as to precede the evolution of the Daihan Kohan of the third group or hierarchy of being in primary creation before those gods can become rupa, embodied in their first ethereal form. So animal creation has to proceed from that same reason, divine man on earth. And this is why we find in Puranas, the 5th, the Tarya creation was that of animals. And that very long word that I cannot pronounce, creation, or that of divinities, Vishnu Purana, book 1. But these divinities are simply the prototypes of the first race, the fathers of their mind-born progeny with the soft bones. It is these who come and become the evolvers of the sweet-born, an expression explained in book 2. Finally, the 6th creation is followed in creation in general, close by. The evolution of another word I can't pronounce, beings, which was the 7th and was that of man. The 8th creation mentioned is no creation at all. It is a blind, again, for it refers to a purely mental process. The cognition of the 9th creation, which in its turn is an effect manifesting in the secondary of that which was creation in the primary prakti creation. The 8th, then called Angaraha, something similar to that. Intellectual creation of the Sankhyas, explained in Karaka, is that creation of which we have a perception in its exoteric aspect and to which we give intellectual assent, in contradistinction to organic creation. It is the correct perception of our relation to the whole range of gods, and especially of those we bear to the Kumaras, the so-called ninth creation, which is in reality an aspect or a reflection of the seventh. Sorry, sixth. See, my dyslexia is like bongling now. In our Manavatra, not tackling that. There is a ninth, the Kumara creation, which is both primary and secondary, says Vishnu Purana, the oldest of such texts. The Kumaras explains an esoteric text are the Dhyans, derived immediately from the supreme principle, who reappear in the Vasvataha, whatever Manu period, for the progress of mankind. The commentator of the Vishnu Purana collaborates it by remarking that these sages live as long as Brahma, and they are only created by him in the first Kapala, although their generation is very commonly and inconsistently introduced in the Varha or Padma Kapala. Thus, the Kumaras are exoterically the creation of Ruda, or Nila Lohita. Trying, guys. A form of Siva by Brahma and of certain other mind-born sons of Brahma. But in the esoteric teaching, they are the progenitors of the true spiritual self in the physical man, the higher Parakti, while the Pitras or lower Parakti are no more than the fathers of the model or type of his physical form made in their image. 4 and occasionally 5 are mentioned freely in the exoteric text, 3 Kumaras being secret. Compare what is said of the fallen angels in Book 2. The exoteric 4 are Sanat Kumara. My favorite name, Sananda. Sankra and Santana. And the esoteric 3 are Sana, Kapala, and Santa Jucha. So butchering that. And I've been saying Sananda is Yeshua's soul's name. See the link? Special attention is once more drawn to this class of Daihan Kohans, for herein lies the mystery of generation hereditary, hint in Book 1. It explains their position in the divine hierarchy. Meanwhile, let us see what the exoteric text says about them. They do not say much, knowing to him who fails to read between the lines. We must have recourse here to other Puranas for the elucidation of this term, remarks Wilson, who does not suspect for one moment that he is in the presence of the angels of darkness, the mythical great enemy of his church. Therefore, he contrives to elucidate no more than that these divinities declining to create progeny, and this rebelling against Brahma, remained as the name of the first implies, ever boys, Kumaras, that is ever pure and innocent, whence they creation is also called the Kumara. The Puranas, however, may afford a little more light. Being ever as he was born, he is here called youth, and hence his name is well known as Sanat Kumara. In the Siva Purana, the Kumaras are always described as yoginis. The Kumara Purana, after enumerating them, says these 5, O Brahmins, were yoginis who acquired entire exemption from passion. They are 5 because 2 of the Kumaras fell. Of all the 7 great divisions of Daihan Kohans, or Devas, there is none with which humanity is more concerned than with the Kumaras. Imprudent are the Christian theologians who have degraded them into fallen angels and now call them Satan and demons. As among these heavenly Daizans who refuse to create the Archangel Michael, the greatest patron saint of the Western and Eastern churches, under his double name of Saint Michael, and his supposed copy on earth, St. George, conquering the dragon, has to be allowed one of the most prominent places. See Book 2, The Sacred Dragons and Their Slayers. Night Guide 333 just covered literally the dragon story of St. George on his channel. Go check it out. The Kumaras, the mind-born sons of Brahmaruda, or Siva, the howling and terrific destroyer of human passion and physical senses, which are ever in the way of the development of the higher spiritual perceptions and the growth of the inner eternal man mystically, are the progeny of Siva, the Mahayogi, the great patron of all the yogis and mystics of India. They themselves begin the virgin ascetics, refuse to create the material being man. Well may they be suspected of the direct connection with the Christian Archangel Michael, the virgin combatant of the dragon Apohis, whose victim is very soul united too loosely to its immortal spirit, the angel who, as shown by the Gnostics, refused to create just as the Kumaras did. Does not the patron angel of the Jews preside over Saturn and the Sabbath, the day of Saturn? Is he not shown of the same essence with his father Saturn and called the son of time, Kronos? A form of Brahma, Vishnu, and Siva? And is not old time of the Greeks, which is the Skith, and the sandglass identical with the Ancient of Days of the Kabbalists, and the latter ancient being one with the Hindu Ancient of Days? Brahma is in his triune form, whose name is also Sanat, the ancient. Every Kumara bears the prefix of Sanat and Sana, and Sanashara is Saturn, the planet, and the king Saturn, whose secretary in Egypt was Thoth Hermes the first. They are thus identified both with the planet and the god Siva, who are in their turn shown the prototypes of Saturn, who is the name of Bel, Baal, Siva, and Jehovah Sabaoth, the angel of whose face is Michael, who is a god. He is the patron and guardian angel of the Jews, as Daniel tells us, and before the Kumaras were degraded by those who were ignorant of their very name into demons and fallen angels, the Greek Orphites, the occulty inclined predecessors and precursors of the Roman Catholic Church, after its secession and separation from the primitive Greek Church, had identified Michael with the Ophimorphos, the rebellious and opposing spirit. This means nothing more than the reverse aspect symbolically of Ophis, divine wisdom of or Christos. In the Talmud, Michael is prince of water and the chief of the 7 spirits, for the same reason that his prototype among many others, Santa Surjata, the chief of the Kumaras, is called Ambahamsi, waters, according to the commentary Vishnu Purana. Why? Because the waters is another name of the great deep, the primordial waters of space or chaos, and also means mother. Amba, meaning Ananti, and Akasha, the celestial virgin mother of the visible universe. Furthermore, the waters of the flood are also called the great dragon, the Orpheus, Orpheomorphos. The Rudas will be noticed in their Sempentary character of fire spirits in the symbolism attached to the stanzas in Book 2. There we shall also consider the cross, 3 + 4, under its primeval and later forms, and shall use for purposes of compassion the Pythagorean numbers side by side with Hebrew metrology. The immense importance of the number 7 would thus become evident as the root number of nature. Shall we examine it from the standpoints of Vedas and the Chaldean scriptures as it existed in Egypt thousands of years BC, and as treated in the Gnostic records, we shall show how its importance as a basic number has gained recognition in physical science, and we shall endeavor to prove that the importance attached to the number 7 throughout all antiquity was due to no fanciful imaginings of uneducated priests, but to a profound knowledge of natural law. Bam. We finished. And I didn't slaughter that many names. Holy shit. I hope we made that through. It was long, but it was good because my goodness, we got the Nos Confunden map kind of peeping out, showing itself here. And we have a lot of other fun stuff. And of course, number 7. So next time we're going to tackle the 4 elements. Please like, share, and subscribe. You guys are helping me just get this out in the world. This is not my best reading or work, but this book is important. And if you can get through it a little bit with, Blavatsky's not easy to read. Every other section is like parentheses with like some crazy ass thing inside of it. And of course, I cannot pronounce anything in the Indian Hindu language properly. So I do apologize. Sending each and every one of you love, light, protection, and shielding. Please have a rest of your amazing week. Be safe, be seen, have fun, go within. Check out my oracle readings if you are like feeling stagnant, you need a little bit of advice from the universe. It is ridiculous what I got today. Mind-blowing. Every card was pretty much bouncing off the other one with information. And of course, you have a huge deck of cards. You could pick any one. And yeah, some of them mesh together, but like this theme of change, the rebirth, the death, goodbye the old, like it's just in your face right now in the universe. So go watch that if you feel inclined to do so, and if you resonate. I'm only trying to help everybody do some inner work, understand what's going on, and work through some very difficult things and energies. So please be safe, be seen, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.